Charlie Munger gave me this idea of inversion. His famous quote is, if you know where you die, don't go there. And he's a great investor, along with Warren Buffett. And it's not just for investment that he used this idea, but everything else, as far as I can tell. It was probably a few years ago I encountered this word, maybe more. But since then, I've been thinking, but it took this many years before I started to find interesting discovery about inversion. Whether that is what Charlie Munger thought about, I don't know. But I want to go through some of the cases so that you may find interest in utilizing this principle in how we live. I don't know where to start, but let me start to talk about the memory. When you get older and the short-term memory goes very weak, you start to forget things. And I've been sharing out how to fix it, how to memorize the name of the people and so forth. I think I've been somewhat successful, but still there are cases that I forget. And if you look at this situation from the, let's call it power of inversion, the fact that I have memory to be able to speak, communicate possibly, even if the subject may be difficult, that is something I can appreciate. That may sound weird that you have a problem, but on the same subject we have a problem. You can look at the situation from the other side, saying that, wow, this is so wonderful that I still can remember and use my word, whatever, and then communicate. Years ago, maybe not years, 2 or 3 years ago, I talked into the YouTube. And the title was Appreciation of Life. And that was 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I still feel strongly about the same. And the one way that I look at how I appreciate is that, again, the power of inversion. Yes, there are problems, but just compared to this situation that we have a problem that we can complain about or frustrated. But the root of where we came from, that's the inversion idea, I can use it here, that if we are born in 10,000 years ago, whatever, or living in the cave, and you may be watching the fire for everyone who may be sleeping, and you doze off and the fire dies out, then everyone get upset. And you don't have much to eat or drink, and it's cold. And compared to that situation, what we got here, it's like heaven. People talk about the happiness, searching for happiness, and there are many ways to do it. More money, more traveling, more and more and more. But are we not forgetting where we came from and forgot the skill to appreciate things? And if you have that skill, you may be one of the happiest person without anything. You hear the story like that. I know a British guy who told me something about his experience of going to Thailand or someplace like that. And he found the people there are very poor, but they are just happy without not having much of anything, but with great smile. I remember that similar situation in various countries. But the one that I remember maybe more vividly is in India, when I was going through the places where the Buddha was enlightened and so on and so forth, or going across the Ganga River, and I was impressed what may have been the case. But one village I stopped by, this is actually the car passing through, and I stop the driver so that I can take a look, because there are people in a very poor village using the stick, big one, and on the ground there are grains there, and using the stick to crack the grains so that you get to eat the wheat or whatever. So I stopped there and asked if I can join, and they are very happy. And they introduced me to their houses. There was nothing, and there's no floor. But when I left, I don't know how many, almost all the village people came and smiling at me. I still have the picture somewhere. I wish I can share on this, but maybe it's in the slide, so maybe I don't have it. But that smile I cannot forget. So we may be busy in what we are looking for or consumed of, but when we find the time as if to look ourselves from different dimension, then we may realize that how lucky we are. Whether it's a feeling of humbleness or what, I don't know what the word is. But we are busy searching for a solution, but we may be forgetting something, that maybe we're searching something where it doesn't exist. Saying that, one of the sutra in Buddhism, Vimalakirti Bodhisattva, has a famous saying that says, if you look for it, you cannot find it. And I think it's the same concept as you may find the bluebird story, that the kids looking for bluebird when they came back home. Was that Andersen? I don't remember the name of the author. They found the bluebird right there at home. So we are looking up, but we forget the ground. We are busy searching for things, but we may never find it the way we search unless we realize what is that we should be looking for, or we may have the answer or solution already within us. So in the past, several months, because of the COVID mainly, but from before that I've been posting various videos. But I also mentioned about one of the experience that was about, I was going out after doing some work and I get tired, and when I went out, there was ordinary sky, just the blue sky and the cloud. And I felt the sky is watching me. And there was that feeling of awakening, like my whole body is vibrating to realize who I am and what this world is or the universe is. And I don't know how to say it. Maybe it's a feeling of luck or happiness or joy or being alive. So it's like a process of elimination. If you invert things, if you're looking for things, then don't look at the area where there's no solution for it. It sounds very silly saying, but that is profound. You can call it as a process of elimination. If you don't find it there or there, maybe you don't want to forget to find your best mate or the woman you like or love. Maybe you shouldn't. I'm not sure about it. I'm not the good authority on that point. But the many things we look for can cause lots of suffering. And the one way to not cause ourselves the suffering is inversion. Related to that, Einstein said, as I remember recently, he was quoted as saying, there are two things that he thinks of the limitation or infinite. He was thinking that the universe may be infinite, but he's not quite convinced to that idea. He's famous for the general theory or special theory of and relativity and all that, warped universe, and that's his opinion that he couldn't tell if the universe is unlimited. But he was very convinced when he said that. But one thing he think is unlimited is our stupidity as a human. So I laugh at it. I'm laughing at myself that I have gone through so many occasions of stupidity in my life. I thought I found this lady and that should be the true love, but it turned out to be not the case, for example. I think Pascal said something like that. But let's not get disappointed about what you are searching for by my saying it. But let me just share with you a word from Zen. In Japan, we talk about the Datsu Moso, not Zen temple. Datsu is going beyond. Moso is delusion. So it corresponds to the Four Noble Truths, they call it, that the Buddha said something about there's a way to find the suffering, the way out of the suffering, eliminate suffering, or something like that. The life is full of suffering. There's a reason for that. There's a way to eliminate, and the way is the Tao, so to speak, the way that he taught. So eliminating delusion and all that is connected to that. And I shouldn't go into detail, but I want to say just a few words on Zen. The famous sutra is called the Heart Sutra. And it said something like all the manifestation of everything is emptiness. And emptiness is all of those. And that's the heart of the Heart Sutra. If you know what it means, then you are enlightened. That's the way they seem to point. And let me just touch on that one because I have spent some time many years in Zen and meditation. And early in my life, I was wondering about the God, and I talked to the priest in the Christian, the churches and so forth, or visited the Zen temple and meditated. But the way I look at it, I mentioned a little bit about what I said about the two universes. One is the universe that we create in our mind. And the other may be seen as truth or the infinite or even emptiness that you cannot describe, but not in the sense of empty, but there is the manifestation of everything in there. So it's a contradictory statement. But the sense of awakening is often described as vast emptiness or stillness. And the analogy for that in Zen often is the wave versus the ocean. The wave is the mind, the ocean is down deep, and it's quiet. So mind creates lots of stuff, but down below, if you get there, relate to that, and you can relate to that as God or infinite. And if you sense that and connect to that, and that's the sense of perhaps one of the ultimate power of inversion. So as a human, we live, pursue happiness, this and that, and we get involved in that. But if we go through this inversion process of looking at what we have done and accomplished and where we came from and what's missing, we may learn the lesson of our own life by utilizing the power of inversion. Just out there, I have this wind chime making noise, and I picked up the used material, the casting material, whatever, and I just made it by myself. Now it's making a little sound. Remind me of the hurin, the chime, wind chime in Japan. So that's part of the creation that I see, and the creation as a powerful inversion. Because as far as I can tell, I'm basically the dust of universe configured in some special form to be here and talking into the voice memo for YouTube as if there's someone listening. And what is going on here? Being alive in this unknown space of universe, and there's some realization of who I am, perhaps. Maybe to the point of thy will be done, that we came from whatever the force of the universe, you can call that as nature or God, or the law of nature, that we are here short time to compare notes and exchange ideas, possibly, if we can. But I guess that's the ending part of this message about the power of inversion, because that sounds like one good ending and one good beginning, the point of appreciating what we've got here in our life. So find the happiness, perhaps utilize the idea of inversion, and I'd like to come visit back here and maybe talk about, again, the appreciating our life, appreciation of our life some other time. If we get to meet again somewhere, it could be pretty good. Thank you.